Fred Vasseur has only now let fly with a bombshell so honest, so ruthless, that it's opened the lid on the quiet unrest seething inside Ferrari all season long. After days of subdued rumor and mounting indignation, the Ferrari team principal has finally emerged from cover. And what he's done to Lewis Hamilton, the radio calls during the Canadian Grand Prix, and within team politics has stunned the entire paddock. This is not some other vague PR exercise. This is vindication, straight from the top, that what we've all been listening to on team radio was real, was serious, and worse than Ferrari ever wanted to admit. Those leaked team radio messages were already making waves. Hamilton, confused and visibly furious, battling unexplained car issues. Leclerc, publicly questioning Ferrari's strategy. In the middle of the race, both drivers sounding like they were completely disconnected from the pit wall. And now, Vasseur has stepped forward and admitted it. The Canadian Grand Prix was a total breakdown. From Leclerc's crash in free practice 1 to a disastrous qualifying session to car damage and poor strategy choice on race day. The weekend wasn't just disappointing, it was a feat of immaculate failure. But what's even more interesting, Vasseur didn't try to spin it. He didn't fall back on PR spin or blame someone else. He came out, openly acknowledged the mistakes, and admitted there were serious communication failures. He went on to call out the pressure that's not just suffocating the garage, but deeply embedded in Ferrari's entire race execution culture. His comments confirmed what fans and insiders have been whispering for weeks. Inside Ferrari, the mood is tense, reactive, and unstable. And Vasseur wasn't shy about speaking his mind. He admitted that the team is making too many errors, that the drivers are under huge pressure, and that what Ferrari desperately requires right now more than anything is calm. But with both Hamilton and Leclerc now visibly angry, that calm now looks like it's farther and farther away from us every Grand Prix. So now to the big questions. What exactly did Vasseur reveal? How bad is the situation behind closed doors at Ferrari? What are the real stories behind those dramatic radio calls? And can this fantastic team get itself together before the season is lost forever? Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to discover about Vasseur, Hamilton, and Ferrari's implosion in Canada changes everything. The chaos that exploded on race day? It didn't come out of nowhere. It had been building, quietly, all weekend. It all started with a crucial setback. Charles Leclerc's crash in free practice 1. That left Ferrari working on one car for the rest of the session. And for a team trying to bridge the gap between Red Bull and McLaren, that's not hiccup. It's a strategy nightmare. But it didn't improve at all. Saturday, qualifying. Leclerc was blazing in quarter 3. He had set the fastest first sector of any driver on the grid. And then, inexplicably, he took a breather. Why? Because he got stuck behind traffic, and Ferrari hadn't tipped him off. A communication breakdown at its most fundamental level, an unnecessary error committed at the worst moment possible. That one mistake denied Leclerc a shot at a good starting position. It denied Ferrari track advantage, and it set the tone for what was about to become a car crash of a Sunday. Then came race day, and with it, a complete unraveling of Ferrari's weekend. Lewis Hamilton, starting ahead, should have been Ferrari's benchmark, but instead of charging forward, he was immediately hit by a mysterious lack of performance. At halfway through the race, his engineer Riccardo Adami came over the radio with a hair-raising comment. "We do lose downforce in the car, maybe 20 points missing." Hamilton, already struggling with an unstable rear end, responded in mounting exasperation. "Is that rear downforce? Because the rear is loose. The pit wall's repulsed. It's quite balanced." That one incident summed it all up. Hamilton was describing a car on the point of being undrivable, rear instability, braking inconsistencies, mysterious power loss. And the whole time, the pit wall was telling him that everything seemed to be okay. The difference between driver and engineer was vast. What followed was a series of team radio messages that filled headlines across the F1 world. "Why is this car so slow?" Hamilton demanded, annoyed. "Out of power, out of pace, boys." That was not a complaint, it was the cry of a champion belatedly acknowledging that the car he had been given was not competitive, and when the team told him he was 25 seconds adrift, he lost his rage. Where have I lost 25 seconds? His tone was stunned, almost sarcastic. It wasn't about being overtaken or outdriven, it was about being completely left in the dark, and his message was clear: if Ferrari had a plan, they hadn't shared it with him. Meanwhile, was locked in a strategic farce of his own when told Midra to switch to Plan B. He responded bluntly, "I think Plan C," short tense, suggestive of a driver who no longer trusted what was coming from the pit wall. Then came the flashpoint. Ferrari called him into the pits, and Leclerc exploded. "Why have we boxed? Why did we box?" He demanded the answer. "We're on Plan B." Leclerc's reply was cutting. "Yeah, but I was just telling you. Tires were fine." That one line said it all. That pit wall had ignored their driver again. Leclerc was managing the tires well, had made it clear he wanted to extend his stint, and yet the team had overridden him without listening. It wasn't just a tactical misstep, it was a breach of trust, and this is where Fred Verse's post-race revelations hit like a thunderclap. Speaking to Sky Sports F1, Vasseur didn't deflect. He didn't sugarcoat the disaster. He acknowledged that the weekend was riddled with problems too many to count. One car running in FP1 miscommunication, in qualifying a strategy on Sunday that simply didn't work. It's too much for a single weekend. He admitted, coming from a team principal, that's an extraordinary confession. But what he said next was even more shocking. When asked about the pit stop strategy, Vasseur said, "Maybe a one-stop strategy could have worked, but we didn't know the possible lifespan of the medium tires." Let that sink in. Ferrari, one of the biggest, best-funded teams in Formula One, entered a Grand Prix without knowing how long their tires could last. They were guessing in the middle of a race, with a 7-time world champion and a generational talent in their cars. That's not just an operational failure, it's negligence. Vasseur tried to downplay the damage, insisting that updates are coming soon and that the team needs to focus on themselves rather than panic. But his own words betrayed the deeper truth. "We didn't do a clean job this weekend," he said. And for Hamilton and Leclerc, that statement was just confirmation of what they'd been screaming into the radio. Leclerc and Hamilton weren't throwing tantrums. They were delivering clinical, calculated critiques of a team that simply wasn't performing. And now that Vasseur has backed them up publicly, it's clear that these weren't just emotional outbursts. They were symptoms of a deeper issue. Ferrari's problems are no longer hidden. The radio messages exposed the chaos in real time. Vasseur's interview confirmed that the team is aware and overwhelmed, and now the spotlight is blinding. The next Grand Prix won't just be about fighting Red Bull and McLaren, it'll be about proving that Ferrari can hold itself together under pressure. Because if they can't, this dream partnership lurk, and Hamilton could turn into one of the biggest missed opportunities in F1 history. So don't even think about looking away, because what's coming next could redefine everything. We thought we knew about this Ferrari project. The Canadian Grand Prix wasn't just a bad day at the office. It was a mirror held up to the very structure of the team. The radio chaos, the baffling decisions, the complete lack of clarity, all of it has revealed cracks that go far beyond the drivers. What we're witnessing may well be the beginning of a crisis, not just in results, but in identity. What does Ferrari stand for right now? Precision, excellence, strategy, or confusion? Missed opportunities and internal disconnect. And here's the frightening part. The storm isn't over. It's only just begun. The pressure on Vasseur is now unlike anything he's faced since stepping into the role. The pressure on Leclerc is building as he watches his career drift further from the title he's dreamed of since childhood. And for Hamilton, who made the boldest move of his career by joining Ferrari, the weight of expectation, frustration, and doubt is becoming heavier with every passing lap. With the next race fast approaching, every decision Ferrari makes from this point forward will be under a microscope. Fans, media, rival teams, everyone is watching. One wrong call, One more weekend like Montreal, and the backlash won't just be loud, it'll be deafening. There's no more room for Plan B confusion, no more shrugging off errors as if they're growing pains. Ferrari has two of the most talented drivers on the grid, and if they can't provide them with a car that works, a strategy that makes sense, and a team that listens, the consequences will be severe. Because the reality is this: teams can recover from bad results. They can bounce back from technical setbacks. But once you lose the trust of your drivers, once they stop believing that the team knows what it's doing, that's when the real collapse begins. And based on what we've just heard over the radio and what Vasseur has now admitted in front of the world, that trust is hanging by a thread. So the real question isn't whether Ferrari can be fast, it's whether they can be smart, whether they can rebuild unity, whether they can silence the chaos, block out the noise, and deliver the performance and precision that their history demands. Because if they can't, this won't be a championship challenge. It'll be a slow public breakdown of one of Formula One's most anticipated projects. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update, because the next chapter in this story won't just shape Ferrari's future.